Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. The light from the afternoon sun flooded into the spacious living room where I sat, a stack of glossy brochures spread out before me. Pyramids, the Nile, the vast stretches of desert, Egypt had always been a dream, and it was finally about to come true. Or so I thought. "Honey, have you seen my passport?" "I can't find it anywhere," called Sarah from the bedroom, her voice a blend of irritation and haste. "It's on the kitchen counter, next to the fruit bowl," I replied, my eyes not leaving the pages that depicted exotic locales. I could almost feel the heat of the Egyptian sun, the thrill of adventure tinged with the ancient and the mysterious. A few moments later, Sarah breezed into the room, passport and tickets in hand, her blonde hair shimmering like spun gold in the sunlight. She flashed me a dazzling smile, the kind that had first drawn me to her. "All set. Can you believe we'll be in Cairo tomorrow? Finally checking it off our bucket list." I grinned back, my heart swelling with anticipation. We had planned this trip for our 5th anniversary, a celebration of our marriage and mutual love for travel. As we spent the evening packing, Sarah seemed unusually pensive, her smiles forced, her laughter a beat too late. I attributed it to pre-trip jitters. The night before our departure, I decided to surprise her with a new camera to capture the wonders of our trip. I snuck out to the store, the excitement of my surprise keeping my spirits high despite the late hour. When I returned, the house was dark, unusually silent. "Sarah?" My voice echoed slightly as I walked through the door. No response. I wandered through the house, turning on lights, the sense of unease growing with each empty room I checked. Back in the living room, the brochures lay scattered, a few pages turned as if caught in a gentle breeze. But it was the empty envelope on the coffee table that stopped me dead in my tracks. The tickets were gone. Panic set in as I tried to call her, each ring stabbing at my calm until her voicemail greeted me instead. Confusion reigned until a message popped up on my phone from a mutual friend, a photo of Sarah, not alone, boarding a plane, a man's arm just visible around her shoulders. The world spun as the realization hit me. Not just a trip, but my marriage, the trust I'd placed in her, it was all a facade. She had left with her lover, to the very place that was meant to be our shared dream. Devastation morphed slowly into a cold, seething anger. I sat there, surrounded by dreams of Egypt, my heart breaking. Yet, in the shards of that broken heart, a resolve formed. Sarah had betrayed me, but I would not let this deceit define me. I would go to Egypt anyway. I would reclaim my dream. And Sarah? She would learn that actions have consequences. As I booked a new ticket, my resolve hardened. This wasn't just a trip anymore, it was the beginning of a reckoning. And so, with a suitcase packed with not just clothes but a plan, I prepared to step into a story that was no longer about us, but about retribution. The flight to Cairo would be long, but every mile would distance me from betrayal and closer to a resolution. The game was just beginning. The hum of the airplane's engines serves as a monotonous backdrop as I tap my fingers impatiently on the armrest. The flight to Cairo is more than just a journey across continents, it's a flight from betrayal to a personal mission. As the plane lands, the reality of my situation sinks in deeper. I'm here alone, on what was meant to be a romantic getaway. Stepping into the bustling Cairo airport, the chaos is a welcome distraction. The air is a mix of exhaust and spices, a sharp contrast to the sanitized ambience of the airplane. I pull my suitcase off the carousel and head towards the exit, where a swarm of taxi drivers vie for attention. "You need taxi, my friend?" "Where you go?" a voice cuts through the noise. I turn to see a middle-aged man with a wide, friendly smile. "Yes, to the Ramses Hotel, please," I reply, managing a smile despite the turmoil inside. As we navigate through Cairo's congested streets, the driver, who introduces himself as Amir, chatters about the best places to visit, Khan el-Khalili, the pyramids of Giza, and the lesser-known Saqqara. His words float around me, but my mind is elsewhere, tangled in thoughts of Sarah and her deceit. Arriving at the hotel, I thank Amir and head inside. The lobby is cool and grand, a stark contrast to the heat outside. After checking in, I retreat to my room, a neatly arranged space with a view of the bustling street below. That evening, I decide to venture out, to walk the streets that were meant to be explored with Sarah. The city is alive, vibrant with energy and the chatter of thousands of lives intersecting. At a small, crowded cafe, I order a coffee and sit back to watch the tableau of daily life. The clink of a cup being placed on a neighboring table pulls me from my reverie. I glance over to see a woman with sharp features and intelligent eyes looking at me curiously. "You are not from here, yes? You seem lost in thought," she says in accented English, her head tilted slightly. I guess I am a bit, I admit, surprised by her directness. "I'm Layla," she extends her hand, her grip firm and confident. "Jack," I respond, shaking her hand. As we talk, Layla's story unfolds. She's an art historian, in Cairo for research. Her knowledge of the city's hidden gems is extensive, and as we discuss our interests, an idea forms. Layla could be the key to experiencing Cairo in a way I never could alone, possibly even helping me to forget Sarah's betrayal temporarily. Would you like to see the real Cairo? Not just the tourist spots but where the locals go? Layla asks, her eyes twinkling with the promise of adventure. I would love that, I reply, the first genuine excitement I've felt since landing. The next day, Layla shows me a side of Cairo that's raw and beautiful. We navigate through bustling markets and quiet back alleys, the city revealing itself through her eyes. But amidst the distraction, my thoughts occasionally drift to Sarah, wondering if she's walking these same streets with him. By evening, as the sun sets over the Nile, coloring the sky in hues of orange and pink, Layla and I sit on a low wall, sipping mint tea. "You seem troubled, Jack. If you ever want to talk," she trails off, giving me a knowing look. I nod, grateful. "Maybe I will. It's a long story." As night falls over Cairo, I realize that while the trip had started as a quest for retribution, it's also becoming a journey of rediscovery. Layla's presence is unexpectedly comforting, and I find myself not wanting to think about what comes next. But the shadows of my purpose here linger, reminding me that this trip isn't just about escape, it's about confrontation, and eventually, closure. The Cairo sun is already high as I make my way to the breakfast buffet in the hotel. The scent of freshly baked bread and brewing coffee momentarily lifts my spirits. As I fill my plate with local delicacies, my phone buzzes in my pocket. It's a message from Layla. "Good morning. Ready for another day of adventure? Meet me at Tahrir Square at 10. I smile, grateful for her companionship. Despite everything, there's a sense of excitement about discovering more of Cairo. I reply quickly, confirming our meeting, and head out into the bustling streets. Tahrir Square is a whirlpool of activity. Vendors shout their wares, cars honk incessantly, and tourists mix with locals in a chaotic dance. Layla spots me first, waving enthusiastically. Today, she's dressed in a light, flowing dress, her hair tied back, radiating a sense of effortless elegance. "Jack! Over here," she calls out, her smile wide and inviting. "Morning, Layla," I greet her, feeling lighter in her presence. "What's on the agenda for today?" "I thought we'd start with the Egyptian Museum. It's just around the corner, and it's a must-see. Then maybe a boat ride on the Nile," she suggests, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Sounds perfect," I reply, genuinely looking forward to the day. The Egyptian Museum is a labyrinth of history. Layla guides me through the exhibits, her knowledge of the artifacts turning each piece into a story. We marvel at the golden mask of Tutankhamun, the intricate carvings, and the mummies, each display more fascinating than the last. As we move from one exhibit to another, Layla stops suddenly, her expression turning serious. "Jack, I know we've only just met, but I feel like there's something you're not telling me." Is everything okay? I hesitate, the weight of my situation pressing down. But there's something about Layla that makes me want to open up. There's something I haven't told you. The reason I'm here isn't just for a vacation. My wife, she's here, but not with me. Layla's eyes widen in surprise, but she says nothing, waiting for me to continue. She left me, right before our trip, and came here with another man. I found out the day before we were supposed to leave. This trip was supposed to be for us, but now. I don't know, I finish, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. Layla places a hand on my arm, her touch gentle. I'm sorry, Jack. That must be incredibly painful. Do you know where she is? I shake my head. No, I don't. I came here thinking I might find her, confront her, but I don't even know where to start. Layla's expression shifts, a look of determination crossing her face. Then we'll find her together. Cairo isn't as big as it seems. We'll start with the places tourists frequent. She might be at one of them. Her resolve gives me a renewed sense of purpose. Together, we leave the museum and head towards the Nile, where we board a small boat for a ride. The cool breeze off the water is refreshing, and for a moment, it feels like a normal, peaceful day. As we drift along the river, Layla's phone buzzes. She glances at the screen, her brow furrowing. Jack, I think I might have a lead. A friend of mine works at one of the upscale hotels by the river. She mentioned seeing a couple that fits your description. They've been taking private boat tours. My heart races. Do you think it could be them? It's worth checking out, she replies, her determination matching mine. We disembark and head towards the hotel Layla's friend mentioned. It's a luxurious place, with an air of exclusivity. Layla talks to the receptionist, who directs us to the hotel's private dock. As we approach, my pulse quickens. There, on one of the boats, I see her, Sarah. She's laughing, her head thrown back in joy, her arm entwined with a man's. The scene is a knife to my heart, but it also steels my resolve. Layla grabs my arm gently. Jack, what do you want to do? I need to talk to her, I say, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. We wait until the boat docks. Sarah and her lover step off, still oblivious to our presence. I step forward, my voice cutting through the air like a blade. Sarah. She turns, her face draining of color as she sees me. Jack. What are you doing here? I think that's my question to you, I reply, my anger barely contained. Her lover steps forward, trying to shield her. Look, man, I don't know what you think. Stay out of this, I snap, my eyes never leaving Sarah's. She looks at me, her expression a mix of guilt and defiance. Jack, Why, Sarah? The words spill out, my voice breaking. Why did you do this? Her eyes fill with tears, but before she can respond, Layla steps in. Let's take this somewhere private. This isn't the place for a confrontation. Reluctantly, I nod, following them into the hotel. Layla secures a small conference room, and we sit down, the air thick with tension. Start talking, Sarah, I demand, my voice cold. She takes a deep breath, her eyes avoiding mine. Jack, I never wanted to hurt you. But I fell out of love. We've been growing apart for a while now. When I met Mark, things just happened. Fell out of love. I echo, disbelief and pain mixing in my voice. You couldn't tell me that before running off with him. I didn't know how, she whispers, tears streaming down her face. The room falls silent, the weight of her betrayal hanging heavy. Finally, I speak, my voice firm. I came here to confront you, but also to find closure. You made your choice, and now I'm making mine. This is goodbye, Sarah. I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for. With that, I stand and walk out, Layla following close behind. Outside, the Cairo sun blazes down, but I feel a strange sense of relief. The confrontation is over, and while the wound is still fresh, it's the beginning of healing. Are you okay? Layla asks softly, her concern evident. I nod slowly. I think I will be. Thanks to you. She smiles, her presence a comforting balm to my wounded heart. Let's get out of here. There's still so much of Cairo to see. As we walk away from the hotel, the future seems a little brighter, each step taking me further from betrayal and closer to new beginnings. The next few days in Cairo pass in a blur. Layla and I spend our time exploring the city's hidden treasures, and for a moment, I feel almost normal again. The ache in my chest remains, but it's dulled by the excitement of discovery in Layla's unwavering support. One evening, as we stroll through the bustling Khan el-Khalili market, Layla turns to me, her expression serious. Jack, there's something I need to tell you. I've been thinking a lot about what happened with Sarah. I have a feeling there's more to this story. I look at her, surprised. What do you mean? I have a friend who works in private security. He has access to some resources. I asked him to look into Sarah and Mark. I hope you don't mind, she says, her eyes searching mine. I'm taken aback but also curious. No, I don't mind. What did he find? Layla takes a deep breath. He found out that Mark isn't just some random guy. He's been involved in several shady business deals. There's a possibility that Sarah got caught up in something much bigger than just an affair. My heart races as her words sink in. Are you saying this whole thing was planned? It's possible, she replies. We need to dig deeper. With a renewed sense of purpose, we return to my hotel room, where Layla makes a call to her friend. Within the hour, he arrives, a tall, imposing man named Ahmed, with a no-nonsense demeanor. Ahmed gets straight to the point. I've been tracking Mark's movements. He's been involved in some high-stakes dealings, and Sarah might be in over her head. There's a meeting tonight at a club in Zamalek. They'll be there. Layla and I exchange glances, the gravity of the situation settling in. We need to go, I say, determination hardening my voice. Are you sure? Layla asks, concern etched on her face. I need answers, I reply firmly. That night, we head to the club, the atmosphere electric with music and conversation. Ahmed, Layla, and I blend into the crowd, our eyes scanning the room. It doesn't take long to spot them, Sarah and Mark, seated in a secluded corner, deep in conversation with a group of men. We move closer, careful to stay out of sight. Ahmed listens intently, his face growing darker with each passing second. Finally, he turns to us. They're discussing a deal involving stolen artifacts. Sarah doesn't seem to know the full extent, but she's definitely involved. My blood runs cold. I need to confront them, I say, my anger boiling over. No, Jack. We need to be smart about this, Ahmed warns. If we blow our cover, it could be dangerous. But it's too late. Driven by a mix of rage and betrayal, I step forward, my voice cutting through the noise. Sarah. She turns, her face paling as she sees me. Jack, what are you doing here? I could ask you the same thing, I reply, my voice shaking with anger. What the hell is going on? Mark stands, his expression turning menacing. This doesn't concern you. Leave now. Not until I get some answers, I retort, my eyes locking onto Sarah's. How could you do this? Not just the affair, but this, getting involved in something illegal. Sarah's eyes fill with tears, but there's a defiant edge to her voice. I didn't know, Jack. I swear, I didn't know the full extent. Mark told me it was just business. It's always just business with you people, Ahmed interjects, stepping forward. You're underestimating the damage you've caused. Chaos erupts as Mark lunges at Ahmed, who swiftly disarms him, pinning him to the ground. The men they were with scatter, the club's patrons panicking and fleeing the scene. "Let's go," Ahmed orders, pulling me away as Layla grabs my arm. We rush out into the night, leaving the chaos behind. Back at the hotel, we regroup in my room, the tension palpable. Sarah's betrayal has been laid bare, and the weight of it crushes me. "I'm sorry, Jack," she whispers, tears streaming down her face. "I never meant for any of this to happen." "It's too late for apologies," I reply, my voice hollow. "You chose this path. You chose him." She nods, defeated. "I know." Ahmed steps forward. "We need to report this to the authorities. Mark will face justice, and Sarah, you need to deal with the consequences of your actions." Sarah looks at me one last time, her eyes pleading. "Jack, please." But I turn away, unable to bear the sight of her. "Goodbye, Sarah." As she's escorted out by Ahmed, Layla stays behind, her presence a comforting anchor. "Are you okay?" "No," I admit, my voice breaking. "But I will be." Layla takes my hand, her touch warm and reassuring. "You're stronger than you know, Jack." This is the end of one chapter, but the beginning of another. I nod, the pain still raw but tempered by a sense of closure. The deception has been revealed, and while the wound is deep, I know that I can heal. As the first light of dawn breaks over Cairo, I feel a glimmer of hope. The journey isn't over, but the worst is behind me. And with Layla by my side, I know that I can face whatever comes next. Together, we step into the future, leaving the past, and the betrayal, behind.